All right, so these classes are intended to be short, straight to the point, no fluff, no extras, just straight to the point. So this is our first master class. This master class is on exits. We're gonna have a master class on entries. We're gonna have a master class on mindset. We're gonna have a master class on market levels and targets, stop loss placements. Then after that, I'm done. I ain't got nothing else to give y'all. Like Mo is about to disappear. Y'all about to get that for the rest of the year, and then after that, Mo, y'all will be like, "Where Mo at?" Mo gone. Mo is about to disappear for real. But like I said, this one first one, our first one here is on exits. We got to get to a point to where we're exiting based off what price is saying, not exiting based off how we feel, based off our P&L. What else we exit off of? Based off everything but what we should be looking at, and that's our price. That's price and rules. So that's what we're gonna tackle today. Hopefully, you guys will start doing this, right? Start building your trust in what price is saying and not what you feel or think price is saying. Just trade exactly what's on the charts. Before we get started, though, I need you guys to answer me this. Um, what would you say is your biggest struggle or your biggest hurdle with exiting your trades? Are you holding too long? Are you not knowing when to exit? You watching your P&L? Probably all the above, huh? Um, like what is it that you guys are struggling with the exits? Holding too long? Holding too long, waiting to one more. Okay, okay. Now, for you guys that's saying holding too long, um is that because you're watching your P and L and you want more, or are you holding too long uh for another reason? Late entries will hurt. Late entries will hurt. Bitch, I gonna be there for that entry, the master class, huh? One of my target. So emotions. Yeah, emotions. Your emotions. All right, so hopefully after this master class, you guys understand what you should be looking for. And then we don't gotta guess when we should exit our trades. We just actually just look at what price is saying on the charts. And trust in that. Um, so let's get into it. All right, so some of the common mistakes, right? We either cut too early, right? You guys said you hold too long. We're watching our P&L instead of watching price. Um, you guys don't have a clear exit plan before you get into the trade, right? Which I say is completely important before you get into a trade. You should know where you want to take price, and then if price runs through that, then it runs through that. But you should have that in place before you get into the trade, and then also letting your emotions control the show, which that normally kicks in when you're watching your P&L, or if you just want a little more, right? This is all emotions controlling what you should be doing, and that is watching price. So, like I always say, if your emotions don't align with price, then F your emotions. So it's gotta all align. If it don't align, you just gotta let it go. Um, what we should be watching is market structure, price, and your rules. Now, I loosely say your rules because let's just say hypothetically today, the way price ran, your rules say, well, I only want 50 points a day. I get that that's your rule. Like, and I can never knock you for sticking with your rule. But when price is given, just go ahead and take that rule and sit it to the side and let price tell you when to get out of your trade, not just get out of your trade because you hit your goal. But like I said, I'd never knock you if you do it that way. Um, but I feel like the only way we go get to firing these bosses and living a life that we actually want to live, we're gonna have to risk it. We just gonna have to be a little bit more riskier in our trading. We can't keep playing it safe, trying to take 50 points here and take 20 points here, which is cool. But I just feel like when the market is giving like it gave today, you know how much more further you could have went down your lane of your race if you would have just been a little bit more risky and was just looking at price. You know what? Like this thing ain't coming back right now. Let me just get some more of this, right? So we got to be a little bit more risky in our trades. All right, so what should we be looking at when we're looking to exit our trades? This is all I do. If we are truly bearish, price should be respecting levels of resistance. If we are truly bullish, price should be respecting levels of support. So what does that mean? If we're headed to the downside and we're truly bearish, I want to see price create levels of resistance. I want to see price pull back to levels of resistance. I want to see price respect that level of resistance and continue heading to the downside. If we are truly bullish, right, heading to the upside, I want to see price create levels of support. I want to see price pull back to these levels of support. I want to see price respect levels of support and continue heading to the upside, right? So respect is just simply come touch it, it can push past it, whatever, as long as it's not disrespecting it by putting bodies beyond it, right? That's what you want to see. The moment you stop seeing that, that is a sign to you that you should possibly get out of your trades. That is a sign. Now, based on your entry, of course, that's going to matter as well. But as long as price, if I'm truly bearish, it's respecting resistance, I'm holding my trade. If we're truly bullish and price is respecting levels of support, then I'm holding my trade. That makes sense? Makes sense, right? So if we're headed to the downside, right? We're headed to the downside. I see price create a level of resistance, but now I'm starting to see price close above levels of resistance. Well, that's not what I want to see if we truly headed to the downside, right? If we're truly headed to the upside, I want to see price pull back to levels of support and respect it, not start closing below support. The moment we start closing below support, that's not what I want to see if we're truly headed to the upside, right? So this is what I look for on all the time frames, right? Because it happens on other time frames, but that's what I'm looking for. Is price respecting in my favor or is it disrespecting? And now I should be possibly looking to get out of our trades. Make sense? All right, so this part of the class I'm calling cut or hold. So I'm gonna show y'all some images. We're gonna go over them. And I just need you to look at it, right? And I'm gonna give you a scenario. You look at it, you tell me if you should cut your trade or if you would cut your trade or you will hold your trades. Now, I need you to be honest in this situation. For some of these, I'll probably cut with y'all, and some of these I'll probably hold with y'all as well. So just be honest with how you would truly do it today in this moment, right? Today in this moment. All right, so looking at this, you're in shorts. You enter where stick man is pointing. You're in shorts. So we're heading to the downside, right? Damn, you said cut? Jesus. I didn't even break. I didn't even say the scenario yet. Hold on. All right, so you got in here, right? You got in on this candle where stick man is pointing. You're heading to the downside, all right? So based off of what I just said, right? If we're heading to the downside, I want to see price create levels of resistance. I want to see price respect levels of resistance and continue heading to the downside. So as of today, in this moment, would you cut or would you hold? Hold. Hold. All right, so let's look at it. So we got in here. We got in here. I see price create a level of resistance. It came back and respected it. All right, cool. Broke through support. Came back to a level of another level of resistance. It respected it, right? Broke on down. Came back and created another level of resistance. Broke on down. came back to another level of resistance, broke on down. So again, if we're heading to the downside, as long as we're creating levels of resistance, pulling back to levels of resistance, and continue to head back to the downside, then there's no reason for us to cut this trade. Now, if we got in on this candle, I'm probably pretty sure most of y'all, probably like at least 75% of y'all would have cut when y'all saw this wick right here. Right here. Right? But it's keeping it all in context, right? Because if I go back to that image, we're coming off a higher time frame level, but our goal is to get here. So why will we let the noise on this smaller time frame scare us out of our trades? Right? I always talk about the higher time frame goals, right? What is the higher time frame trying to accomplish, right? So when you're playing on these smaller time frames, and this is partly why I tell you guys not to stay down there, is because stuff like this will scare you out of your trade, right? This crazy week probably was like probably 30 points, if that, right? You probably like, hell no, I'm out, right? Opened up, pushed up, and it's a fail two if you trade the scrap. Like, so originally this was a 2-2 graph until it wasn't, right? But you probably would have cut right there, honestly. But again, if you remember the goal of the higher time frame, well, why would you, right? The only way we respect resistance is if we create it, right? So that's all it's doing is creating a level of resistance, right? That's all it's doing. Creating a level of resistance. Broke through a level of support. We're headed down to the next level. It come back down, create a level of resistance, and we continue heading to the downside. But if you're on these smaller time frames and stuff like this is scaring you out, all you got to remember is where is the hour trying to go, or where is the 4 hour trying to go, or where is the 15-minute trying to go if that's your higher time frame. If you keep that in your mind, things like this should not scare you out of your trade. So if you said hold, cool. If you said cut, I mean, that's cool too, right? But look how much you missed because you was not watching price. You clearly was watching P&L, or you was watching, or you was letting your emotions control you in that trade. That makes sense? You said it's below the 50% of the previous candle. You talking about this candle, J Scott? You talking about 50% of this? I assume that's what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. See, and that's the thing though, like how we lose patience so soon. We lose patience right here. Like just chill. We trying to get the hour already telling us we trying to get here or whatever this higher time frame is. It might be the 15 for all I know. I don't remember. But um if we know we trying to get here and we already saw a price coming off a higher time frame level and respect a level of resistance, right? Respect a level of resistance, respects a level of resistance. None of that is screaming longs to me, right? None of that is saying upside to me when we're respecting levels of resistance. So we just gotta chill. We just gotta chill. And I know you look to the left and be like, well, it bounced right here before. Okay, that's cool. That is great. But what is it doing right now? I don't care what it did before. What is it doing right now? This should not take you out of your trade, right? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like we look to the left to identify what could possibly happen. But until it happens, what we running from? What we scared of? It's gotta do it first. It's gotta do it first. That makes sense? All right, so next one. I think this is an hour. It's the 1 minute. Cut. Hold. Cut. Oh, let me tell you, I'm sorry. We are in this for longs. We are in this for longs. I'm sorry. We're in this for longs. So let me ask again. We're in this for longs. Meaning we're heading to the upside. We're cutting or we holding? Come on now, with all these candles, you know this is the hardest time frame. Like what? Y'all would hold. That's crazy. Y'all was in long. Y'all would hold that, huh? All right. Oh, okay. All right, so let's look at it. So, like I said, right, if we're heading to the upside, price should respect levels of support and continue heading to the upside, right? The moment price starts respecting levels of resistance, then that's a signal to you something might be off. Like that don't make any sense. Why are we respecting levels of resistance? That's not what we're doing if we head into the upside, right? So if I'm looking at this and we're in for longs, I see price came up to a major level, right? The green lines are major levels, higher time frame levels at least. And then I'm starting to see price respect a level of resistance. I see price come back to a level of support. That's cool. That's what we want to see when we're heading to the upside. I want to see price come back to a level of support and start heading back up to the upside, which it did. It came back up here again, but now this time it respected levels of resistance again. And not only that, it didn't even make a new high. So it's just like, all right, does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. Then we come back down here and create another level, come back to the same level of support, right? And it holds this area, right? Now, the moment this disrespected a level of support, that's not what we want to see if we continue into the upside. We want to see price respect levels of support. So now all of a sudden we disrespecting levels of support. That doesn't make any sense. So based on your entry of this longs or of these longs, right? You probably hold and find out, right? So if you would have got in somewhere down here, then you probably would have held that, right? But if you got in here somewhere, I would hope you would not hold that just looking at what we should be looking at, right? If we're respecting levels of resistance, that's telling us we're headed to the downside. If we're disrespecting levels of support, that's telling us we're heading to the downside. Now we don't know how deep a pullback it'll be. This pullback could turn into a reversal, right? We don't know. But that's where you should have already in place. Okay, well, I'm going to exit and price disrespect this. Price disrespect this, I'm out. So if I'm looking at this, I'm like, all right, well, price disrespect this level of support, maybe I'll cut right here, right? But you gotta know that ahead of time. So you're not like just holding like, nah, like I just want to see your price is gonna get back up there and go. Right? So just stick to what you say you're gonna do, but have that in place before you get into the trade. Make sense? That's so true. If I was in this long and I see this at the top, I'm out of there. I'm switching cars so quick. Let's go the other way. Let's go the other way. All right, so if you said cut, I would cut. I definitely would cut. If you said hold, um, hopefully you see now why you probably should secure some profits. And then let's see what price want to do. But all right, let's look at this one. We in long. I mean, sorry, we in shorts. We in shorts. Stick man is pointing at where we got in at. Are we holding? Are we cutting? I ain't showing y'all the pullback. I gave y'all got all this information right here. Are we holding? Or are we cutting? Hold. It's a major level right here. We got a major level right here. We was coming off a major level of fear, clearly respecting a level of resistance. Um, where Stickman is pointing at. It's where Stickman is pointing at. Hold, hold, y'all show. You cut? So you would cut down here? Ernest? Dang, why? Not saying you wrong. I mean, you watching your P&L or something? That's you thinking though. A sweep might happen. All right, so y'all been in the portal and y'all look at when I the gold videos where I talk about price meeting the goal, right? So looking at this before I go and give y'all the answer. Um, if I see this strong push to the upside, this strong candle here is telling me that this next candle should head to the upside, which it did, right? It opened up, it pushed higher, and then it started making its way back down. So did price meet the goal of the previous candle? Yes, it did. Did it close beyond it? No, it didn't. So this candle here is telling me that this next candle is heading down. Now, where to the down, I don't know, but it's for sure heading to the downside, just based off reading the goals of what price is trying to reach. And if y'all ain't got to that part in the portal yet, y'all should go look at that part in the portal, right? Because that has definitely helped you in your trades, right? So this candle here that we entered on is telling me that this next candle should be heading to the downside. So even if you think, okay, this is probably gonna sweep, it could sweep all this one. Hell, the next candle could open up and sweep and turn back around, right? It could definitely do that. But let's find out. I for sure know that this next candle should be heading to the downside somewhere. Somewhere. Our goal is to try to get here though. That don't mean it's got to give it to us, but we for sure know that this next candle should be heading to the downside. And next candle opened up, right? And opened at the bottom of the body, right? Pushed to its lowest point and started to come back up. Now, the moment I see that, all right, it might be go time. It might be time to go. It might be time to go. Like, yeah, it might be time to go ahead and let go. I'm not even letting it get back above the green line. Like, it's time to go. Nope, 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 nope. Not doing it. Not doing it. But we knew based off this candle that this candle should head to the downside. Now we would have loved to see it get to this fair value gap here. That would have been great, but it didn't quite get there, right? So how they say, don't marry the destination, don't marry it, and this is how you get stuck in your trades. Nope, it's gonna give me this. I'm holding until it get here. And what if it never do it? Now what? Now you holding your trade for no reason. Now you stuck in the L. Ooh. Say the word and I'll kick them out. I promise. Say the word, I'll kick them out. Um, but this is this is how that happens, right? This is when you're letting your emotions control you in your trades, right? Just based off price, I understand that this candle is telling me this next candle should be headed to the downside, which it did. But the moment we start coming back up, that's not something that I would want to see if I'm in a trade. I don't want to see that, right? I want us to see us break major levels and break through that thing, not play with it, not play with it. I feel like you have to. You have to. That's why your entry is important. Because if you would have got it in here down here somewhere, you probably would have been out on this little push up right here in the same candle. But you got to, right? So we get better entries, we can see plays through fully. And this is how we eat more because we got a better entry. But you guys gotta trust your entries. Gotta trust your entries. Down. Okay. Down. All right, that makes sense. All right, this one right here, where Stickman is pointing, that's where we got in for shorts. Shorts, shorts, shorts. Downsides. We holding or we cutting? You don't even want to see? Cut, 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 cut. You hopping in another car? I feel you on that one. Yeah, I might be in there with you, Bus. I might be in there with you. So, like I said, if we truly headed to the upside, price should pull back to levels of support, respect levels of support, and start continuing to head back up to the upside. The moment it doesn't do that, then price is talking to you and telling you that this might not be heading back to the upside. So if we're looking at this image, we clearly see price created a level of support, right? It also dipped inside this higher time frame level here, right? Came in here and got some gas and started to head back up to the upside. So if we are in the uptrend, which this image is clearly looking like it is, looking like price is pulling back to a level of support. If I was in this to the downside, why would I want to hold this in hopes of what? In hopes of what if we're already in an uptrend, right? Take what it gave you. That's cool. We ate. And let's go ahead and exit and maybe hop in this other car and play it back to the upside, right? But in prices creating levels of support, respecting levels of support, you got to trust what price is saying. Not our feelings, not our thinking, not our emotions, none of that. We just playing what the chart is saying right now. What is price saying? Is it respecting levels of support or is it respecting levels of resistance? Make sense? So if you said cut, I'm cutting it with you. I'm cutting it with you. You said cut, but not too quick. Well, I don't think what you gonna hold for this next candle, KP. I'm out. As soon as I saw that toe come in the water, come on out and dry off. I'm out of there. I'm out of there. All right, so looking at this one. All right, so this is the hour, this is the 1 minute. We entered here to the downside. We entered here to the downside. This is the hour, this is the 1 minute time frame. You cutting or are you holding? Hold. All right, so what if I said that green candle right there was a 60-point pullback? You still holding? Ah, yeah, funny. Hold. All right. Now I only said that because when you're on the smaller time frames and we see these trend candles that's going against the trend that we're currently in, we have a habit of cutting our trades, right? We have a habit of doing that. So when we see this strong green candle come out of the blue, we like, oh no, hell no, I'm out of there, right? And we got a cool little entry, right? We got in on this candle. We didn't really get in up here at the top, but we got a cool entry to see what price wants to do, right? But I know a lot of people that are cut on this green candle right here. But like I always say, you got to remember the goal of the higher time frame. So if I go back to this higher time frame, I know at least we got to get here. After that, we got a little fair value gap right here. We got another level right here, right? It's just target to target to target until price says otherwise. So looking at this 1 minute time frame, this noise that's going on right here, we sometimes let our emotions take over and be like, all right, no, we out of here. Like, I don't want to sit through that. Right. But again, if we're headed to the downside, I need price to create levels of resistance, pull back to these levels of resistance, respect levels of resistance, and continue headed to the downside. And this is all price was doing. It was creating a level of resistance, right? And creating a level of resistance, pull back to that area, right? Because this was a level of resistance before, and then it continued to head to the downside. So to let this one green candle scare you out of your trade, when we know the ultimate goal is for a price to at least at minimum get here based off the hour time frame. Why would we allow price to scare us out of our trade right here, right? We got to see the trade all the way through, especially when you see price coming off a higher time frame level. We got price coming off a higher time frame level. Do you really think it was just trying to go right here when the hour is telling us we're trying to get to here at minimum? right? Now I gave us all three, but at minimum it was trying to get here. Now when price get here, then we could talk about something. But until price meets the goal in a higher time frame, there's nothing to talk about until we do it. All this other stuff is just extra until we do it. That makes sense? We good? We makes that make sense? Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. All right. You said the R came all the way back down. I missed the part down. You tired, KP. It's time for a nap. Time for a nap. All right. So, any questions on any of that? Why everybody driving? Any questions on any of that? Y'all be safe on them roads. No questions. Everybody good?
I have one, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
So usually, um, pullbacks are being created to create the resistance and support levels.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you gotta, for it to continue in the trend, right? It's got to come back and get some type of gas from somewhere, right? It's got to create that gas somewhere. So, in knowing that, we know that's a part of the game. Now, don't start closing, right? Disrespecting levels of resistance if we're headed to the downside, or closing beyond levels of support if we're heading to the upside, right? We don't want to see that. We shouldn't need to do that. So the moment we
Hmm.
do that, that's where it's got to click in your head and be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Now, not telling you get out of your trades, but it's telling you it doesn't make any sense. So since price is telling you something doesn't make sense, you should be more interested in that story and seeing what price is really saying, right? So
Yeah.
just observe it, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, so when planning your exit, right? So you should ask yourself, did price reach the level or the goal of your higher time frame? So whatever your higher time frame is, you want to see if price has reached that goal yet. If it hasn't reached the goal yet, then you should not be concerned about what the 1 minute is doing, 30 seconds is doing, 5 minutes is doing, 2 minute, whatever. Right? Until we reach that goal, it's nothing to talk about. Now, when price gets to that goal, you want to see if price close beyond that goal, or did it push past that goal? Stick the little toe in and then came back up, right? Or came back out, right? That's what we want to see. We understand if price closed beyond it, then we should continue. If it push, depending on the push, right? Depending on the wicket leaves behind, that should give you your information right there if you should cut the trade or not. And like I said, the higher time frame, the higher time frame, the higher time frame. You have to remember the higher time frame. Most of the time we be on a smaller time frame and we get scared out of our trades, but we forget not a higher time frame said we were supposed to get here. So even if you cut your trade in this last one, even if you cut your trade here and you want to look for re-entry, it's nothing wrong with doing that because you should understand, well, we ain't get here yet based off the hour time frame, right? So it's nothing wrong with that, but just don't give up on the play, right? Keep your head in the game. Keep your head in the game. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And like I said, is structure breaking beyond your levels or is it just pushing? We want to see price continuing, to break through our levels if we're in a trade, right? For me, let me say for me, if we're in a trade, I want to see price close beyond levels. Um, if I'm in the trade. Now, if I'm looking to get in the trade, I just want price to push, and then I'm gonna look to get into the trade and play it back in the opposite direction. But that's what you should be looking for. Is price pulling back to levels of support. If we're heading to the upside, pulling back to levels of support, respect those levels of respect those levels of support, and start heading back up to the upside, right? The moment price disrespects a level of support and we're heading to the upside, then you should be thinking to yourself, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's time to get out of my trade. But remember what the higher time frame is saying as well, right? Remember what that is trying to do, right? Because this could possibly just be a deeper pullback. So, like I said, if you want to cut your trades, you definitely can. But if you identify on a higher time frame, we still haven't reached that goal to the upside yet, then why are we cutting our trades? Why are we cutting our trades? And we're heading to the downside, price should respect levels of resistance. So price should pull back to levels of resistance, get the gas it needs, and start heading back to the downside, right? The moment price pulls back to a level of resistance and start closing beyond the level, meaning back above the levels of resistance, well, we don't want to see that. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Any questions on that before I take it to the chart real quick? Where we at? All right, so let's look at today's price action, right? Because I know a lot of people left early for whatever reason, but nothing on this chart ever said leave early unless you're on the smaller time frames and you letting emotion control your trades. All right, so looking at it on the 1 minute time frame, because that's what most people play on. If the higher time frame is saying to the upside, because the day was definitely saying to the upside, right? If that is saying to the upside, and I'm looking at price, if I'm looking at price, now this depends on your entry. So let's say that. So if I'm looking at price, and it's saying to the upside, and I see price pull up here to this level of resistance, and it respects it, right? So if we're heading to the upside, we shouldn't be respecting levels of resistance, right? We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that, right? So when I see this is price talking to me and telling me, okay, well, we shouldn't be doing that. Like, we should be doing that. Let's go see what the hour level was real quick. Because I want it outside there. So the hour is telling us we should at least try to get here. We should try to get here. Right? And so forth, right? So if I'm looking at it on a 1 minute time frame, well, price didn't get there yet. It hadn't got there yet. And I think ES had already blew through it already. So we hadn't gotten there yet, right? So if I'm looking at it on a 1 minute time frame, I do see price respecting a level of resistance. So if I want to cut my trade right here, cool, based off my entry, I might cut right here and just let it set up again. But the moment price pulls back and respects a level of support and creating a level of support, why would I not look to get back in this trade? Now, most people didn't because they was like, okay, news is coming out. That's cool. That's great. That's cool. If that's what you want to go off of, that's cool. But let's just say you missed this whole move to the upside. All right. So if we're continuing to the upside, what do I want to see price do? I want to see price pull back to levels of support, create levels of support, and start heading back up to the upside. Support, upside, support, upside, right? So why can't we eat this when we see this? Why can't we eat when we see this? Even if we miss all of this, again, if we're heading to the upside, respect support, let's go ahead, head up. Respect support, let's go ahead and head to the upside. Why can't we eat here? Like this is some cool points right here. For real. Like it's 60 points right there. And this damn near 80 right here. Like why we can't do that? Why can't we do that when we see that on the charts, right? Like I said, most people don't even want all this. Most people don't even want all this. Except billionaire. Billionaire want it all. But most people don't want all this. Right? Most people are only asking for 50 points. Well, that's 60 and that's 80. So why we can't do that when we see it on the charts? Right? Why do we gotta be done for the day down here somewhere? Especially when the market is dipping. Especially when I know the hour is saying we trying to get here. Right? We didn't even hit that yet. Right? We didn't even hit that yet. So in knowing that, why not look to get into the trade? Why not? You said we don't know. See, that's the first thing I said. That's the first thing I said. I said, okay, it's cool that you got your rules, but when price is given, why would that rule is just gonna have to sit on the side of the table real quick? Because Mm-mm. Mm-mm. They brought out some more chicken for y'all. And this is hot and fresh and well seasoned. Like why you don't want to keep eating? Brought the biscuits out for y'all. Like why you don't want to keep eating? Especially when you can just read price and be like, okay, are we respecting the level of support? Yep. But I'm gonna look to take entry and I'm gonna continue this heading into the upside. Why not? When it gives it to you. Now nowhere in here, unless you like on the 15-second or the 30-second, could you build out a level of support here, which is fine. But wait till price give you that level of support and then look to get into the trade. Why not? Why not? That makes sense? That makes sense, fam? So even if you miss this, let's just say, man, nah, like this done. They did this crazy pullback. All right, cool. But they pulled back to a level of support. All right, let's say you didn't trust that one. It pushed up. It pulled back to another level of support, and the fair value gap is acting as a level of support. Why not take that one? You missed this one. All right, cool. You don't trust it. Might be a deep pullback. This might could just be a retracement to continue heading to the downside. But it told you again right here, support. Support means to the upside, right? Support means long. Support means calls, right? It didn't break through this, right? It didn't break through this. That's not what it did. It didn't close below this. That's not what it did. So why not take entry here? And just from here to here, my lord, my lord, like why? Why not? Why not take that? Why not take when the market is truly given? But yesterday, y'all want to be all in this nonsense. Like, what was yesterday? Yesterday was so crazy. Yesterday, y'all want to be all in the noise, but today, no noise, and y'all want to sit on the sidelines. That don't make no sense. But y'all trade this. That don't make no sense. When the market is given, you put that rule to the side of two trades, and let's give it all to make up for days like yesterday. That's simple. That's simple. That's simple to me. Simple to me. That makes sense? Look at all this, man. Like, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Again, we headed to the upside. Price should pull back to levels of support respected and continue heading to the upside. That's what you want to see. You want to see price pull back to levels of support, get some gas, and continue going higher, right? That's what you want to see. The moment it stopped doing that, that don't make any sense. And it's the reverse if we head into the downside. If we head into the downside, you want to see price pull back to levels of resistance. Like let's just say hypothetically you was in this to the downside. So you took this to the downside. All right, cool. Price pulled back to a level of support, which it's supposed to do, right? It's got to go make resistance. Came up here, made resistance. Now this is a deep pullback. I can honestly say I probably wouldn't hold through this, but anyway, if we headed to the downside, I want to see price pull back to a level of resistance and start heading back to the downside, right? Now the moment price got down here and created support and respected this level of support, does that make sense? That's conflict. That don't align with what we were trying to do here. But I probably would let this go a long time ago. But that's what you're supposed to be looking for when we're headed to the downside. Price pull back to a level of resistance, continue headed to the downside, pull back to a level of resistance, head to the downside. Let's see. I got a day on here. What day drop? What's that? I think that was Tuesday, Wednesday, one of those. All right, so price drop, create a level of resistance. Right? We're headed to the downside. So it should pull back to levels of resistance. Price drop, pull back to a level of resistance, right? Kind of pulled back a little bit more and created a level of resistance. Dropped, pulled back, created a level of resistance. Fully dropped some more, right? Still created a level of resistance. Drop, sat here and created a level of resistance. So if we're headed to the downside, that's what you want to see. You want to see price head to the downside, right? Trend to the downside, pull back to a level of resistance, respect it, get some gas, and continue heading to the downside. When we see that, why not take that? Why not take that? But remember what the higher time frame is saying. So play it goal to go. So if the higher time frame goal is met and price puts a body beyond it, then we should continue heading to the downside. If don't put a body beyond it, depending on the reaction at that level, right? It could put a wick in, but long as it's not nothing crazy like this wick, long as I don't see this coming off a higher time frame though, that's fine, right? Because I understand it's gonna put a wick in, it's gotta put a low in, right? It's gonna put a high in, it's gotta open, it's gotta close. So in understanding that, don't just run out of your trades. But as long as price is reaching these goals on a higher time frame and it's putting bodies beyond these goals, what we exiting our trades for? Why? Why? But all of these are opportunities. These are all opportunities, right? You missed this one. All right, cool. You missed this one. You missed this one. You missed this one. Like, just wait until price create a level of resistance and look to get into the trade. Like, you don't got to be in at the top. It's enough for everybody to eat. Just from line to line, you could have made some good little profit right there, right? Good ass. But I want the whole thing. I
Question,
want the whole thing.
a question. So that
Go.
area that you just talked about, the area of resistance,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
okay, so that area, it created a area of resistance and then it started to drop, but then it went up and it passed that area of resistance, closed inside of that fair value gap
Which one are you talking about?
above it, down, 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 that area.
Uh-huh.
So it created an area of resistance before, like slightly to the left of there,
Right
right
here.
there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was going down and then it went up and past that area, and even closed into that fair value gap. You still holding that?
I'm still holding it. Did it disrespect it?
Um,
Then
it
it did
created a higher level of resistance to me.
a higher level of resistance, but did it disrespect it? Meaning, did it put a close beyond this level?
No, it didn't, but it disrespected the first area that I'm looking at, that area.
You're right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. It did close higher. It did close higher than this, and that's fine. But if I see a fair value gap right here, it would have to disrespect that for me to get out of my trade, not just because it went and pulled back just a little bit more. Now, if it would have disrespected this, meaning putting a close beyond this fair value gap, then we got something to talk about, right? But when I see this level of resistance here, but then I see this fair value gap here, you got to disrespect this fair value gap for me. That'll let me know that they no longer there, right? That'll let me know that this gonna be a deeper pullback. But no, I'm not cutting just because you went higher. No, I'm gonna use this fair value gap. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, because I was looking at that it closed inside that fair value gap, like to the upside too.
Mhm.
So that was.
It's also the thought process too of understanding, like I know that the market is trying to play on my fears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, well, let me not say they're trying to. I'm allowing the market to play on my fears. I'm allowing the market to play on my emotions when they do things like this, right? Because you can look at this and be like, well, this is a higher high, right? It is higher than this high, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
understand that you just want me out of this trade and you're going to do a deeper pullback for me to get out of this trade. And I might cut, depending on how my emotions are in the feeling. I might cut, right? But the moment I see price respect this level of resistance at this fair value gap, why not get back into this trade? Why not?
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I probably would have cut, maybe try to get back in, but
Yeah.
just
I
looking
mean,
at it based on how I look at it, I know I
mhm.
probably would have got out right there.
There's nothing wrong with that, though. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't think you're doing anything wrong with that. Not telling you to hold through this, but the moment you saw that price respected this fair value gap, why not go get in and get some more?
Yeah, got
Why
it.
not?
Yo, Mo, can we see that area right there on the 5 minute? See how it look? Like instead of being on the noisy, see how it look on the five. See if that would have like could have held it better looking like higher.
I've been this kind of. Fifth area right here.
So yeah, see it just put his toe in, swept them highs, and then boom.
And right back up in. Yep. We said fifth at fair value got to see. You talking about right here, KP? So that's what you're talking about. But that makes sense, right? Like she how she acts, you know, she probably would have cut right there. Like that doesn't there's nothing wrong with securing profits, right? There's nothing wrong with none of that, right? Um, but the moment you saw price respect this fair value gap, since most of us trade fair value gaps, the moment you see that, then why not look to getting back into the trade if it aligns with what the higher time frame is saying, which looks like the higher time frame was saying to the downside without even looking at it, right? So it looked like it's aligning with that. So why not look to get back in this trade, right? And let's just say we had a dope entry. Let's say we got in there at the top, and then let's say down here, you see this, and then you see price pull back just a little bit deeper. Why not shave some contracts right here, secure some profits, and then when price clearly respects the level of resistance, why not add more? Whatever you just took off, put back on. Like, why not do that? Why close out completely? That's why I asked y'all earlier, like, what was y'all original entry? Because a lot of y'all had a lot of dope entries today, but y'all kept getting in and out of y'all trades. When price never said get out of your trade, but why not secure some profit, shave some off, and then once price clearly tell you that it's respecting when was we to the upside today? So the moment price clearly respect the level of support and start heading back off that level of support, why not add some contracts right there? Why not? Especially when you can identify where we're trying to get to on a higher time frame, which I showed y'all. So why not do that? That makes sense? I for sure know, like when I first started trading, like I would go heavy out the gate, right? It's not till recently to where I'm just like shaving and I'm scaling in, I'm scaling out, right? That's not till recently. Like I just started doing that, right? I would just hold the whole way through because I want the whole thing to be 200 points. I want the whole thing to be 300 points, right? So I'm scaling in and I'm scaling out, right? Because maybe I got trust issues or something. I don't know. But why not do that? Why not every time you see price pull back, start to pull back, right? Why not shave some off? And then once it pull back to a level of support and resistance, depending on which way we going, why not scale in? It's telling you it's respecting it, right? As long as it align with what the higher time frame is saying and understanding where the higher time frame is trying to go, right? Why not do that? Yeah, true. I need you to be a scale in one though. Be a scale in one. Like we look at today, right? Like we look at today's price action, right? So let's just say you didn't keep your original entry. All right, cool. You didn't do it. All right, cool. So as long as like I said, we're heading to the upside, and I see price pull back to levels of support, and we see price pull back to levels of support. Why not look to take entry? So let's say we see price pull back to this level of support here, right? We see price pull back to a level of support here, right? It respects it and it starts heading back up to the upside. So we look to take entry here, all right, cool. So then when price pull back to this level of support, why not add here? Or when you see price respect this level of resistance and you know that's starting to be a pullback, why not shave there? Shave here, pull back, respect the level of support. Let's go ahead and add, especially when it's aligning with what the higher time frame is saying. Like, why not do that? right? Instead of just getting out at your original entries. Like I said, a lot of you had some great entries today. Had you just held that, you would have been, I mean, you would have been great. Like y'all all would have been on vacation. And I wouldn't have seen none of y'all next week. Right? If you would have held your original, right? But why not just scale out? Why not scale out? It's the same, but it's the same thought process on every time frame, the kid. Like it don't, you don't have to be on a 1 minute. I'm just showing it on a 1 minute because that's where people be scared of their trades at. Right? You can do it from the 5, you can do it from the 2 minute, you can do it from the 15 minute if you want to. It's all support and resistance. That makes sense. You say you got PTSD from the 1 minute, but why though? I mean, I get it, right? If you down, that's why I say, like, if you're down here and you let your emotions control you in your trade, and you're forgetting what the higher time frame is saying, I always say, don't come down here then. Like, get in and go back up. Go to the 5 minute and chill, right? Or go to the 15 minute and chill. You don't have to stay down here if you find yourself anxious or you wanting to cut or you don't know what price is saying and it's just way too noisy and you're forgetting the goal of the higher time frame. Don't stay down here. You don't have to stay down here. Whatever it's doing on a 1 minute, it's doing on a 2, it's doing it on a 3, it's doing it on a 5. You don't have to be down here. I just like a more detailed view, so that's why I be down here. But y'all don't have to do that, right? Y'all don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You gotta do what works best for you, right? So just because one person can't do it, don't mean you can't do it. Make sense? I like really like every pullback is a, especially if we trending, every pullback is an entry to me. Shit, like so even if you miss it at open, let it pull back, create that level of support and resistance, and get in the trade if it's aligning with what the higher time frame is saying. Every pullback is an entry. Every target is an entry. All right. Any questions on anything? It's supposed to be short. This ain't short. This is not short at all. It's supposed to be 30 minutes and under. They ain't never short, huh? All right, we good? No questions? So next week we should be able to hold just a little bit longer, right? If we head into the upside, then you want to see price pull back to these levels of support, respect them, and continue heading to the upside. If we're going to the downside, price should pull back to levels of resistance, get that gas, and continue heading to the downside. The moment it stops doing that, then we should thinking about exit. But other than that, it's nothing to talk about, right? But again, if you're playing on the lower time frames, the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute, and that's scaring you, go look at the bigger picture. Don't forget the goal of the bigger picture. And I'm not even just talking about the hour. Go look at what the 15 is saying. Go look at what the 5 minute is saying. Like, go look at those pictures to see what price is truly doing. Because on the 1 minute, it looked like it's running scared. Like we just showed y'all with the 1 minute and that 5 minute. Well, that was just a larger fair value gap on the 5 minute. Price dipped its toe in there and came back out. On that 1 minute, though, that looked real aggressive. It looks real aggressive. But when we use all our time frames, use all the information that price is giving you, why can't we be successful at this, guys? Why can't we hold just a little bit longer? Why can't we? All right, so if it's no other questions, and we got the video next week, baby, I'm ready. If it's no other questions, we back at it Sunday. We back at it Sunday. Uh, we get to do it all over again. Let's just rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. The good stuff, not the bad stuff. We're gonna get rid of the bad stuff, but let's rinse and repeat the bad stuff. You said in my fair value gap studies, I learned to check the 1 minute time frame higher to see if there's a fair value gap that's pulling to instead of the one I'm on. Yeah, got to, got to. That's it. Because you really think about it, like I always say, like it's a goal being met on all time frames. So it might look more aggressive on the 30 seconds to 15 seconds to 1 minute, 2 minute, right? It might look more aggressive. But if you go to look at the 5 to 15, you'd be like, man, it's just going right there and it's coming back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you gotta use all your time frames. So if you be sitting on one, unless you just play on the hour, you know what I mean? You can play on the hour and just sit there and not care about none of that noise. But y'all know me, I'm a nosy trader. I need to see what's coming on the ride before it happens. So that's why I be down there and I get them. That's why I be down there. All right. All right. Y'all have a blessed weekend. I thank you guys for showing up to this masterclass. Like I said, we got a couple of more. Then after that, Mo is disappearing for the rest of the year. Mo is done, 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 done. With capital E's. Mo is done. Y'all have a blessed weekend. I'm gonna post it as soon as I upload. I'm gonna post it right now.